Strawberries are one of those everyday foods that quietly challenge what we think we know about nature. Most fruits seem to follow a familiar pattern: soft flesh on the outside, seeds tucked safely within. A strawberry does the opposite, wearing its tiny seed-like dots on the outside as if it has nothing to hide. That small detail makes people stop, look twice, and wonder whether the fruit is somehow built backward. So why are strawberry seeds on the outside? The answer takes us into the hidden architecture of flowers, the clever strategies plants use to reproduce, and the surprising history behind one of the world's most recognizable fruits. Let's take a closer look at this small mystery of everyday life, right here on History of Simple Things. At first glance, the question seems simple. A strawberry has tiny yellowish dots scattered across its red surface, and they look like seeds. Compared with fruits such as apples, grapes, peaches, or oranges, strawberries seem unusual because their seeds are not tucked away inside. That difference has made the strawberry feel almost like an exception to the basic rules of fruit. But the real answer begins with an important correction. Those little dots on the outside are not just bare seeds stuck on the surface. Botanically speaking, each one is actually a tiny fruit. More specifically, each is called an achene, a small dry fruit that contains a seed inside it. So when people say strawberry seeds are outside, what they are really noticing is that the strawberry carries many tiny fruits on its exterior. That sounds strange at first, but it makes much more sense once we understand how a strawberry develops from a flower. Like all fruits, strawberries begin as flowers. Inside the strawberry flower are many separate ovaries rather than just one. In many other fruits, a single ovary develops into the fruit we later eat. In strawberries, however, each of those many tiny ovaries becomes its own individual fruit after pollination. Those are the little specks visible on the outside of the ripe strawberry. Meanwhile, the fleshy red part we think of as the fruit is something else entirely. It develops from the receptacle, which is the part of the flower that holds the ovaries. As the flower matures, that receptacle swells, becomes juicy, turns red, and creates the sweet structure we recognize as a strawberry. That means the strawberry is unusual because the part we love eating is not the mature ovary in the usual sense. Instead, it is an enlarged flower base carrying many tiny real fruits on its surface. So the seeds on the outside are there because the strawberry is built from many separate reproductive parts of the flower, each remaining on the exterior as the red receptacle grows around and beneath them. This is why the strawberry can seem inside out when compared with other fruits. It is not actually reversed, it is simply following a different botanical blueprint. Most people grow up using the word fruit in a culinary sense rather than a botanical one. In everyday life, a fruit is something sweet, juicy, and plant-based that we eat raw or in desserts. By that standard, strawberries fit perfectly. But in botany, fruits are defined by their origin in the flower, especially by their relationship to the ovary. That technical difference is what makes strawberries fascinating. In common fruits like cherries, plums, tomatoes, and grapes, the ovary wall develops into the edible fruit body and the seeds remain inside it. In strawberries, the edible red part comes from the flower receptacle instead. The actual ovaries become the small achenes on the surface. So strawberries look different not because they broke the rules, but because they belong to a category with its own developmental pattern. They show us that nature is not locked into one design. plants can solve the same biological problem in multiple ways. And that is one of the quiet lessons hidden in simple things. What seems odd at first is often just another successful version of life's creativity. A natural question follows. Why would a plant evolve this kind of arrangement at all? Why not keep the seeds safely inside like many other fruits do? Part of the answer is that plants are not trying to look neat to human observers. They are trying to reproduce effectively. A strawberry's bright red, sweet, fleshy receptacle attracts animals, including birds and mammals, that may eat the fruit and help disperse its reproductive material. The many achenes on the outside allow the flower's numerous ovaries to mature separately while still being carried together in one attractive package. In other words, the strawberry creates a soft, sweet platform that advertises itself as food. That red flesh is like a signal to the world, "Come eat this." The tiny fruits on the outside benefit from being attached to something noticeable, desirable, and easy to spot in the environment. A plant does not need to follow the design of a peach or an apple if its own design works. There is also a practical elegance to it. Because each achene comes from a separate ovary in the original flower, the strawberry can produce many seed-bearing units from a single bloom. The result is a fruit-like structure covered in dozens or even hundreds of tiny reproductive bodies. That increases the plant's chances that at least some seeds will survive and germinate under the right conditions. So the outer arrangement is not a flaw. It is part of the strawberry's reproductive strategy. Another remarkable detail is that the shape of a strawberry depends heavily on pollination. Each little achene on the outside forms from an ovary that was pollinated. When pollination is uneven, the strawberry may grow into an oddly shaped or lopsided form because not all parts of the receptacle develop equally. This happens because the development of the fleshy red part is influenced by the fertilized ovaries. Part of what makes the strawberry so beloved is precisely this unusual design. It does not resemble a generic fruit. It has visual identity. The bright red color, tiny outer specks, heart-like shape, and soft texture all make it instantly recognizable. That distinct look has helped strawberries become symbolic in art, advertising, desserts, and popular culture. They feel cheerful, vivid, and slightly whimsical. Their surface pattern gives them personality. It is one of the few fruits that many children can identify before they understand anything about botany. Yet that familiarity can also hide how strange they really are. We are so used to seeing strawberries that we forget how botanically surprising they would seem if we encountered them for the first time. Imagine describing one to someone who had never seen it. A swollen red flower base with dozens of tiny fruits attached to the outside. It would sound almost invented. That is the charm of ordinary things. The more common they become, the easier it is to overlook how extraordinary they are. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.